Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for the transfer tips video for Game Week 6 Buy, Sell, Hold, Ignore series. So, welcome, everyone, and we hope everyone's having a very good evening. Just for those that aren't aware, we were actually meant to do this stream yesterday, as always on a Tuesday. However, I wasn't feeling too well, and we've postponed it till today. Sorry about that, guys, but we are back, and we should be good. How are you doing, Jordan? Are you enjoying your day?
Yeah, it's been a very nice day. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed your day as well. It's been a very wet day. Shout out living in the UK. But yeah, Champions League tonight. Hopefully, you guys are keeping a watch over that. It's an interesting games. But other than that, yeah, this is time for the transfer tips for Game Week 6. And it's going to be a very interesting one, I think, in terms of the players we obviously choose and whatnot.
We've got Dan already in the chat. Evening, guys. Evening to you, Dan. Hope you're well.
Evening, Dan.
Okay, so let's get into the first player. And the first one up might be an obvious one. This one, this player, Julian Alvarez for Man City, has been spoken about quite a lot. Dan also saying, think I'm done with Jackson now. Obviously, Jackson is the player where a lot of people potentially are looking to get rid of for someone like Julian Alvarez. Now, Julian Alvarez price is 6.8 million currently. I believe it is actually rising tonight. Last time I checked, I think he's going to go up to 6.9 million. So, yeah, Julian Alvarez, what's there to say about him? 5 appearances so far this season, 2 goals and 5 assists. I think he's having a brilliant season so far. And obviously, with KDB being injured, he's now become a focal point of that Man City team. He's starting every game so far, I believe. And, you look at what he's doing so far for that Man City team, dropping deep. He's not playing as further forward. He is in that deeper role, and I think he's playing it brilliantly so far. And you could tell just by the goals and assists that he has so far this season. Also, his overall player, I think, has been brilliant. He's on corners. He's taking free kicks. This type of player does excite me. And the only worry with Alvarez is he going to get minutes? And there's always the worry with him, rotation risk with Haaland, etc. However, now it looks like he's starting games. He also did play yesterday in the Champions League, and he scored as well against in the Man City. Forgot the team they're playing. I can't properly pronounce their name, but I'm sure one of you guys will let us know in the chat. But yeah, look, Alvarez is a great pick, I think, and 22% ownership. I do expect that to go up, and he looks like a very good buy, doesn't he, Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this comes out of surprise a little bit because we didn't expect Alvarez to have such a great start. Obviously, in terms of fantasy and Man City, because we always thought he would play not 90-minute football each game week, which he's proven that he has so far. Pretty much played 90-minute football. He's only had 1 blank this season, and that was in game week 3 against Sheffield United. Other than that, he's had so many returns and with 1 blank so far. So it's been great value for money, especially when he started at 6.5 million. I think that's pretty much a steal for a forward. And he's the second highest forward in terms of points. He's just literally behind Haaland by 8 points. So, yeah, 2 Man City forwards are looking like the best picks to go for. And Alvarez seems like the best second edition to go for. And a lot of you are transferring Alvarez, obviously, for this game week, where they do face, obviously, Nottingham Forest at home. So that's another good fixture, as well as the other fixtures coming up for Man City. If Alvarez obviously plays 90-minute football and keeps it on top, he should be a long-term decent hold to go for, especially if you're not happy, like with Dan is, in terms of Nicholas Jackson. If you're not happy with another forward, then Julian Alvarez seems like a decent replacement to buy for Game Week 6 onwards. So, yeah, he's been, I'll say, underlooked slightly. I think definitely, in my view, I've definitely underlooked Alvarez, if I'm honest. I didn't really look at him at all to go for as a pick. But yeah, in terms of his 5 appearances, he has delivered very well.
Yeah, and then again, fixtures look great. Nottingham Forest at home, that could be any scoreline. Potentially Wolves away is good as well. Gets a bit trickier in game week 8, 9, and 10, but when you're Man City, no game is really tough for them, to be honest. So yeah, Alvarez, definitely a good buy and someone I am looking at definitely moving forward. Let's pull up the next player on the list as a buy. and that is Mo Salah. Now, Mo Salah is a very interesting player that we got to mention because a lot of people didn't have Mo Salah in our draft. In game week 1, a lot of us did go without Salah, and I don't think that has paid off really. I think if you went Salah, then I think you're up currently right now. I know people are still doing well that's gone without him, but you look at what Salah's done this season so far: 5 appearances, 2 goals, 4 assists. So he has returned pretty much in every game so far. I know people will look at his price and say 12.5 million, is he value for money? However, I still believe he is value for money, especially when you take a look at Liverpool's next 5 fixtures. Liverpool have played some tough games, guys. They've played Chelsea away. I know Chelsea aren't great, but it's an away game. Newcastle is a tough game, and that was away as well. And Liverpool have maneuvered those fixtures pretty nicely. And you look at the next 5: West Ham, Tottenham, Brighton, Everton. Not as easy, but in game week 9 and 10, I'd want Salah in my team. And you look at in expected goals per 90, 0.57, and his expected assists per 90 at 0.43. Salah is also involved now in a lot more assists. As we did say, he probably will get more assists this season rather than just getting goals. However, he has got 2 in 5, and again, I'm a big fan of Salah. If you're on a wild card, which there are people that have popped their wild cards, or maybe you're looking to wild card in game week 8 or 9, I would have Salah in my wild card draft personally. But what have you made of Salah, Jordan, so far this season? Because he was underlooked a lot in preseason, should we say, but he's come back strong. And is he someone that we should be looking at?
Yeah, definitely someone that you should contemplate. He's one of the midfielders that hasn't blanked yet so far this season. And as much as I've criticised Salah at the beginning, obviously, of this season, he has proven me wrong. If I'm honest, he has literally returned every game week. I mean, he got a double haul against Wolves. He got 10 points in that, getting 2 assists. And as we did mention, yes, he probably will get more assists than more goals, just because of how the dynamics of Liverpool's forward line has changed. Like, you don't normally see Salah. We normally see Salah up in that forward line, but now he's dropped back a bit, and now the other players in front of him are now providing the goals. But neither way, at 12.5 million, I'm kind of swaying towards not to bringing Salah in to my team if I could possibly do it as soon as possible, just because of the upside. Even though he's expensive, he's still a player that is literally giving you returns each game week, and you definitely want a player that like that, especially at his ownership of being 27.5%. So in previous seasons, we've seen Salah owned by almost 80% when he's had a really good season. So at the moment, he's pretty much a good steal while his ownership is still low to buy him and get these benefits from these points if you don't have him already. Because I imagine he's still going to stack up those assists and the goals here and there, because he's still on penalties. Obviously, he is a penalty taker, so the goals can still come from Salah if it's not from open play. And yeah, his ownership is on the rise. I expect it to be over 30% come near the deadline for game week 6. But yeah, the fixtures long term for Liverpool are pretty good. I mean, the Brighton one's probably the hardest one they've got in the next 5 in comparison to the rest of the teams. So yeah, I think now is the time to bring Salah in and benefit from the points he will return you with.
Yeah, I agree. And also, you look at the green fixtures on the screen: West Ham, Everton, and Nottingham Forest. They're all home fixtures, and we know Liverpool are a lot stronger at Anfield as well. So again, that all bodes well if you are looking to bring Mo Salah in. And I think definitely if you can get him into your team, I am a bit jealous. If you could do it in one transfer, I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, any team that plays at Anfield always struggles. Like, even if they do score, Liverpool somehow find a way to either draw or win the game.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on then. Those are the buys out the way. Let's pull up some players that we think you should maybe look to move on. Now, people might think this is knee-jerky again, but Nicholas Jackson is on the list and he's on the chopping board. And we both own Nicholas Jackson. So
yeah,
let's discuss what's happened so far. 5 appearances, 1 goal. That goal came against Luton, I believe. And overall, Chelsea have been pretty disappointing, to say the least, in the last 2 or 3 games. They've not really played great. They do look like they're struggling in front of goal. Nicholas Jackson still looks like he's a bit raw. He's adapting, similar things that we said with Nunes last season. He does look like he's snatching at chances. And, you take a look, his underlying number is actually pretty good. Expected goals per 90, 0.64. That's very, very good. However, the problem is finishing those chances. And it looks like he's not been able to do that so far. And people might look at it and think, you know what, you can't sell him before he's got Villa, Fulham, and Burnley. However, if you've already got Haaland, that leaves you one more spot potentially, and Alvarez is right there. And Jackson to Alvarez is very, very tempted for a lot of managers, including me. And that's the reason why I am looking to probably move Jackson on. I want to get your thoughts as well, guys, in the comments. Let us know what you think of Jackson. Are you going to get rid? Are you going to hold him? But I think we're leaning towards a sell, Jordan. What have you made of Jackson and your own thoughts on the player and the situation surrounding Chelsea?
Yeah, with Jackson, I think the time is up for him. As much as we give him faith, especially me in Chelsea and Jackson, it just seems like it isn't paying off anymore. Since that Luton game, it's just literally gone downhill for Nicholas Jackson. I mean, the closest he got to score in that Bournemouth game was hitting the crossbar. And I think that just adds to the frustration of literally owning Nicholas Jackson. If he's getting his chances, like literally the mirror image of Nunes last season, he's getting these chances, but he somehow either misplaces them or he hits the woodwork. And yeah, he's become another frustrating player. But again, I think this was expected. He's not played in the Premier League before, and it was a bit unpredictable of how Nicholas Jackson would get on in terms of the Premier League. So this was literally diving in the deep end, I think, going for Nicholas Jackson, which a lot of us did do. Yeah. And we've only getting one return from that Luton game. It looked pretty good after that, but it did spiral down after 2 game weeks later. So, yeah, I think for now, Nicholas Jackson is definitely a sell. Only getting one return in 5 game weeks is not great at all. He's only had 11 points in total so far. And compared to, let's say, Alvarez, who's had triple, oh no, sorry, not triple, but he's had much more points returns than Nicholas Jackson. I think you're going to go in favour, obviously, with the player that has only had 1 blank compared to the other player who's had 1 return. So, yeah, I think time is up for Nicholas Jackson. I think it's the right time to sell him against Aston Villa at home game. It's going to be tough. Despite after that, they have Fulham and then Burnley away. It still doesn't fill me with confidence, I don't think, to keep Nicholas Jackson. And I think now, while the time is right, I think selling him in game week 6 is probably the best time to.
Okay. Let's move on then to the next player on the list as a sell. And that is Bruno Fernandes. Now, this one could be very controversial because Manchester United, well, there's a whole debate really whether we should even have any Man United players in our team. I have Rashford in my team. I've actually sold Bruno last week. But yeah, I want to obviously get your thoughts in a bit on Bruno. 5 appearances so far, 1 goal, 1 assist. And yeah, I mean, you take a look at his 5 fixtures that he's got. Burnley, Palace, who else? Brentford, Sheffield, and Man City. Maybe people are saying, you know what, with the fixtures coming up on paper, he actually looks pretty good for Man United. Would you not say? But
yeah,
way they're playing right now, what are you made of Man United and Bruno in particular? Like, why do you reckon that we should sell him?
Well, I think his facial expression in the image tells it all, really. But there's so much going on at Man United at the moment in terms of like injuries, for example. Our injury list is growing massively. I think it's almost as much as Chelsea's injury list. It's literally one player after another, the Casemiro being the most latest injury player at the moment.
I believe he will be back though. Obviously, Man United playing tonight in that game, so against Bayern. But I think Casemiro should be fine for that. But I know Wan-Bissaka's out.
Yeah, and it's stuff like that where players, they return from injury, but then again, down the line they get injured again, and that's just one part of the crisis at Man United. There's obviously stuff off the pitch that's going down, and it's affecting the players on the pitch as well. As you can see from their results, they shouldn't be playing like the way they are, and it hasn't changed really. I mean, they had a good season last, but other than that, it's not been great performance, if I'm honest, for Man United. And in terms of Man United assets, I'm just going to get straight to the point and say I wouldn't own any right now. If I had any, I would be taking -4s if I had two Man United assets. If I wanted.
I mean, David's saying everybody needs to get rid of the Man United players. I mean, where I'm at with this right now, I think Bruno's a sell if you have Rashford and Bruno. If you have a double up on Man United, definitely, you do not need both of them. I think that's overkill right now. If you've got Rashford, Bruno, take out Bruno. If you've just got Bruno right now, I still could be tempted just to leave him in for that one more week against Burnley. Personally, I know people might slaughter me. I might leave him in just for that one game week against Burnley. If they don't bounce back in this game, then I think Man United potentially are in for a long season, and then you can get rid.
I mean, I think it's fair to leave him in for Burnley away because it's a newly promoted team. Man United should have it easy. They won't make it easy, but it should be an easy fixture for them, even though it's away.
Yeah, just to answer this question from Alex, I completely agree with what you're saying. I think Bruno is a sell if you've got Rashford and Bruno. Like in my scenario last week, I had both of them, and I think that was overkill having two Man United midfielders when they struggle to score goals. However, if you've just got Bruno and you don't own Rashford, I would actually keep Bruno. So it does depend on your team as well, I think. But me personally, I would not want to have Bruno and Rashford both in my team. Personally, that's what I think on it.
I agree. Definitely.
But yeah, obviously,
it's not too much.
Yeah, obviously, Alex is saying the underlying data for Man United is still decent. And obviously, Burnley haven't been playing well. And Danny's saying Bruno playing deeper this season. I mean, I just Man United look a bit dysfunctional right now. We've seen they kind of played a diamond in the last game against Brighton. It didn't work at all as well. So that's one thing you have to consider. Bruno's position now that he's playing on the pitch, but yeah, for that reason, I think he's a sell. Just because of the fact that if you're on a double up, But look, fixtures: Game week 6 Burnley, Game week 7 Palace, Game week 8 Brentford, Game week 9 Sheffield. You could easily just hold him out for the next 4, which is what I'm thinking of doing with Marcus Rashford, because obviously I own Rashford. I might just leave him in for another few more weeks. But I know, Jordan, you've gone without any Man United assets. I believe you never had any in your team at all this season.
No, I don't think I picked any.
You're doing really well, so it's worked out for you pretty good so far.
I mean, there has been a bit of fortune and a bit of luck in between, but I mean, without any Man United fans, it has worked out. But I think if stuff wasn't happening at Man United, I think it's a different story. I just think with all the drama going on off the pitch, and obviously what's going on the pitch as well, it's just affecting how the players are obviously playing together, aren't playing the same like it is last season. It's completely disconnected, dysfunctional, and I may not have a better season, I think, if there wasn't so much going on at the club at the moment.
Yeah, guys, but let us know what you guys think. Is Bruno a sell? Is he a hold? I mean, we're leaning towards the side of potentially getting rid of him. But yeah, that is our thoughts on it. Let's pull up the next player, though. And we're moving on to the holds now. And first hold, that is actually Ollie Watkins. Now, Ollie Watkins can actually be seen as potentially a frustrating player so far. You know, he was 8 million. He's had a price drop. His ownership is coming down. A lot of managers have got frustrated with Ollie Watkins and are looking to get rid, maybe to someone like an Alvarez, etc. So, 5 appearances, no goals. However, he does have the 4 assists to his name. And you take a look at his expected goals per 90, 0.43. You know, you could look at it and say he's been quite unlucky to have not scored so far this season. However, 5 fixtures coming up: Chelsea, Brighton, Wolves, West Ham, and Luton. I think he's a hold, just because there's not as many great strikers right now, I believe, that are nailed to start every game and guaranteed to play. I know Alvarez is there, so you could go to Alvarez, but if you've got Watkins and been patient with him so far, I think I would still hold. What's your thoughts on it, Jordan, if you're a Watkins owner?
I mean, I don't understand this. I don't know why people are getting rid of Watkins. He's had 4 assists this season so far. Now, I know he hasn't scored yet, but 4 assists as a forward. Nicholas Jackson's had 1 goal and no assist. But people are selling Watkins still. He had a return against Crystal Palace in that 3-1 win, but he got an assist in that game. But he's only had 1 blank this season. That was against Liverpool. other than that, he's had a great run of returns. I mean, I would be happy if I had Ollie Watkins instead of Nicholas Jackson, obviously from having 4 assists to his name. Even though he hasn't scored yet, I'll still be keeping him. If he's still returning me something as a player, I don't want to be getting rid of him. I mean, I'll be happy for people to get rid of him if I did own him, because his ownership would go down more, and obviously you get a better rank from that. But yeah, I don't see the reasoning why Ollie Watkins becomes a sell. I mean, there's not many like forwards apart from Alvarez that we've really looked into bringing in. Obviously, as we mentioned in our buys, but if Ollie Watkins was blanking, I would understand it. But he's not blanking. He's still returning. So I don't understand why people are getting rid of Watkins, if I'm honest.
Yeah, obviously it's just the fact that, people look at it, no goals, and obviously being a striker, you'd expect more. You'd expect more goals so far, and that's fair, I guess. But look, the fixtures, Chelsea away, that could be a really good game. Aston Villa have looked good this season. They've played some good games. They are scoring goals, and I wouldn't want to sell him before Chelsea personally. The way Chelsea are playing, Aston Villa could definitely get a result there. So look, if you got Ollie Watkins, I would be a bit more patient. I know it's easy to say as a non-owner personally, but I think it's still a good pick. And if you're on a wild card, game week 8, you look at the fixture from game week 8 to about game week 14, game week 15. Aston Villa's fixtures are great, and Wolves, Luton in game week 10 looks a great fixture. So look, I think Watkins is a nice hold longer term.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Aston Villa have the longest run of decent average to easy fixtures for any team. Like you can literally hold on to Watkins till game week 14 when he obviously plays against Bournemouth away. All the teams before that are pretty average to easy teams for Aston Villa. Decent, definitely capable for Ollie Watkins to get either an assist or goals in any of those fixtures from 6 to 14. And obviously it does swing after 14. But yeah, I wouldn't be getting rid of Ollie Watkins. Hold on to him, because eventually he will score some goals in his fixtures coming up, especially in that game week 10 Luton at home fixture. I'm very surprised if Watkins don't get in the score sheet for that. But even the rest of the fixtures before that, there's always his capability to put some goals behind the net.
Okay, so let's move it along and bring up the next player on the list. And this might be even a controversial pick, because we've said to sell Jackson, but we're saying Sterling is a hold. Now, again, another caveat, when people just look at this Sterling hold, this does not apply to every team. It probably applies to people that are on double or triple ups on Chelsea. So let's say, for example, you're like me, and like Jordan, where you've got Chilwell, Sterling, and Jackson. You've got 3 Chelsea players, and you can only, let's say you got 1 free transfer, and you can only get rid of 1. If I had to get rid of 1 Chelsea asset, I think Jackson is a priority, and then Sterling, you wait and see. That's where I stand on it. So again, 5 appearances, 2 goals, 1 assists for Sterling. We saw what he did against Luton in that 19-point haul. And then a lot of people rushed to bring Sterling in with the nice fixture run. Now that his fixture run hasn't changed. Villa, Fulham, Burnley. So you look at it on paper, you think he could return in those fixtures. And again, he's a hold on the basis that you've got Jackson and Chilwell, etc. So other than that, if you've got someone, if you've got money in the bank to go from Sterling to like Salah, then go do it. It is team dependent, but look, I still would be holding Sterling. He's been a bit annoying. I think he should have had an assist. Obviously the one Jackson ballooned over, I think, in game week 4. But I think I'm going to be holding Sterling personally for the way my team is set up. But it is team dependent. But what have you made of Sterling, Jordan?
I'm in
a bit frustrating, I guess.
It is a bit frustrating, but it's not really Sterling's fault. I mean, for that, especially for that Nicholas Jackson big miss, because that would mean Sterling would have got that assist if Nicholas Jackson obviously missed that goal. But again, Sterling did hit the crossbar in the previous match as well, same as Nicholas Jackson. So there is a bit of unfortunate and I'll say annoying frustration from Sterling. But again, like you mentioned, Huss, if we have triple Chelsea and we're looking at a priority transfer, that would be Nicholas Jackson. And obviously it wouldn't be Chilwell because of the new rules as well. I think you mentioned this previously. Because of all the added time added on and whatnot in matches, it has seemed like there's not many clean sheets in our team so far this season due to how many minutes more. there are matches played in teams. So Chilwell, I don't think is a priority. But on the other hand, you've got Nicholas Jackson, obviously, who, if you have Haaland and another forward, you pretty much don't have a forward if you've got Haaland only. So you'd want to go for another forward that is obviously less owned than Haaland and will get you points worthwhile. So that does mean Nicholas Jackson out of the 3 Chelsea assets becomes a obviously priority. But Sterling, on the other hand, if you have him too, you hold on to him as you still want to hold on to one Chelsea player while you get rid of the other priorities like Jackson, just so that you can still hold on to some faith come the fixtures that Chelsea have coming up from game week 6 to 8. But yeah, eventually, I don't know with Nicholas, with Sterling in the long term run, if he still is a hold, but I think for now, for the sake of game week 6 and the Chelsea assets, I think he is definitely a hold.
Yeah, I wouldn't have him on a wild card. If you're wild carding, definitely don't have him, I don't think. But if you've got him already, I think you give him the 2 or 3 games. And look, after game week 9, definitely get rid because there's that big fixture swing for Chelsea. Let's move along then to some players that we think you should ignore. Now, these are players that are being transferred in that we think you could wait on now. And no surprise, it is actually Son. Now, I bought Son in last game week for Sheffield at home. And obviously, we saw what he did, went and blanked. Now, he got the hat trick, and a lot of us did rush in to get him. However, I don't think now is maybe the right time to bring Son in. If you've not bought him in, you've missed a haul, you missed a blank against Sheffield. I think you can wait till game week 8 now. So you take a look at his next 2 fixtures, Arsenal and Liverpool, very tough games. For Spurs, I know Spurs are playing really well, so he could easily return, potentially, but, the likelihood is the tougher games will mean, less likelihood of Son scoring. But in game week 8, game week 9, game week 10, I definitely want Spurs again, and Son could be excellent against Luton. However, I just don't think it's the right time to bring him in because it's Arsenal and Liverpool. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be hard for Spurs to score against Arsenal away, Liverpool at home. I mean, there's 2 teams that it's difficult to get goals behind. So it's for the sake of Son as well, at 9.1 million. I don't think you want to be spending that much money on a midfielder who's got 2 hard fixtures in 2 weeks. So I think you're better off, like we said, waiting until game week 8 when the fixture swing changes for Spurs. And that's when you may want to bring in, obviously, Spurs assets like Son, where the fixtures become much more easier, especially Luton. That's definitely a team you want to target, as they are goal magnets. And that's potentially a fixture where Son maybe could get his second hat trick. Who knows? I mean, it's going to be an interesting game week, obviously, for those who think who they're going to bring in, Son or maybe Salah. It will be an interesting rivalry between them for fixtures.
Okay, and finally, the last ignore on our list, and that is Robertson. Now, again, Robertson did get an 11-pointer, I think, against Wolves. Was he scoring that goal in the 85th minute? Pretty much won it for Liverpool late on. And Robertson has actually played very well so far this season in terms of, obviously, away from FPL. He has very good performances. I've been impressed with him, watching him. He has had 1 goal in the 5 appearances. Now, a lot of managers are rushing in to bring him. Liverpool haven't had many clean sheets so far this season. I believe they've only had 1, if I'm correct. I think that was against Villa.
Yeah, that was Villa in game week 4, where Liverpool won 3-0.
Yeah, so you probably don't want to bring Liverpool assets in for clean sheets because they're not getting many. And Liverpool have actually gone behind 3 times in their first 5 games. So Liverpool have come from behind to win 3 times already so far this season, which is obviously impressive, but they are also conceding the odd goal every game. So in terms of clean sheets, I don't know if I'd be going to Robertson. And even goals, I would not be bringing in Robertson because of his goal-scoring prowess. I mean, that's his first goal nearly over a year at Liverpool, I believe. So he's not really one that gets goals. He is very knee-jerky looking to bring Robertson in after he scored his first goal. And, fixtures coming out, West Ham, Tottenham, Brighton. How many clean sheets is really in there? I don't really expect many clean sheets in game week 6, 7, and 8. I do expect those teams to maybe get a goal or 2 against Liverpool, but even the goals, I don't expect Robertson to score every week. So I just think that's very knee-jerky bringing Robertson in. I will definitely ignore him and look to bring in someone maybe like a Newcastle defender who's got the nice fixtures, Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in terms, I'm not personally for me. I'm not really on for transferring in a defender because as we've seen, there's not been many clean sheets this season for many teams. They've been pretty much wiped for many of us. So in terms of attack and returns, you're not going to really get that from Robertson every week. I think I think it was in the absence of Trent also that made Robertson have more attacking threat from obviously that Wolves game as well. But once Trent obviously returns, you may seem like I think Trent would be the better option to go for in comparison to Robertson because obviously Trent plays the inverted right back position, and obviously Robertson plays a little bit further back than him. So you're not going to get many attacking returns for Robertson, unfortunately. So he'd definitely be an ignore, I think, especially for the fixtures as well. I don't see many clean sheets, if I'm honest, either as well. I think in game week 9 it could be a clean sheet, and maybe game week 10 it could be one as well for those 2 home fixtures. But the 3 before that, yeah, I don't see clean sheets for Liverpool in those 3. So yeah, I'll be definitely ignoring Robertson and probably put my focus on some other positions other than in the defence.
Yeah, just to very quickly add to that, obviously transfers right now are maybe we don't have as many as we want. I think people wish they had like 2 transfers. Some people wish we had more, but I would be not prioritizing bringing in the defender right now just because there's more points potential with midfielders and forwards, and bringing in the defender not as much higher ceiling than doing an exciting transfer like bringing in a Salah, bringing in a Maddison, or bringing in an Alvarez. More excitement, more upside than bringing in a defender who may not even get you a clean sheet. But that is it, guys. I think we are going to probably wrap it up. There is Champions League tonight. Manchester United are playing in a bit, so I'm going to go watch Man United v Bayern. Should be a very good game.
I'll be hiding behind the sofa with that one.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting game to watch. But yeah, good luck with that game. Obviously, Man United. Let's see if they can get the job done. But it's going to be a tough one. I think we'll take this question and then we'll wrap the video up. Which Newcastle defender would you say is best for the next 3 game weeks until game week 9 when I wildcard? I'm thinking Shaw just for the extra attacking threat. I mean, Trippier, I would say, but obviously, if you can get to him price-wise, he's a bit expensive.
I would say Botman. As a Botman owner, I think he's been pretty good. I mean, he came into clutch for me last game week with a 9-pointer where he got the bonus 3 and the clean sheet. But yeah, I like Botman because he's cheap at 4.5 million, and I think if we're looking to buy like a Salah, for example, I think you want to invest less money in that defense because, like we said, there's not many clean sheets so far this season, and you're only really going for attacking threat type of defenders to get returns. I think most of this season so far. So I think going with Botman, I think personally for me would be a better option to go for, and I think that's, in my opinion, is probably the best defender to go for in the next 3 game weeks until game week 9, Alex.
Yep, fair enough. But yeah, we are going to wrap it up here. We want to thank you guys for watching. If you have enjoyed the content, smash the like button, guys. We are very, very close as well to 900 subs. So hopefully we can get that end of today. So share the videos on your socials if you can. And just want to say, thank you for watching. And also for those that don't know, I think I've already mentioned it, but I'm going to mention it again as well. Of a new channel. I do have a new football channel. I have just uploaded my first video on that channel as well, where I speak about all clubs. It's going to be a good channel. So I put the link in the description. If you are interested in that sort of stuff, hit the link and check out my video on my new channel. It should be a good one for you guys to watch. Let me know your thoughts. But other than that, like, subscribe, and enjoy the football tonight. That is it from us. Take care and peace out, guys. Thank you.